Hello friends, Olivia here and welcome back to my channel. Tomorrow is Halloween and I'm super excited because it's my favorite holiday. Yeah, so I didn't get to read any of the spooky books that I said I was going to read, so I feel really guilty, but I did read a bunch of books in October. They just weren't spooky books like Owl. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started because I don't want to go too much into the books. I just want to list off what I read and maybe go into some of the books that I really enjoyed. But some of the books that I'm going to name off, I'm not going to really go into them. But just a heads up, spoilers. Okay, so the first book I read was Crowned at Midnight, and that was October 1st. And I read it on the app called Libby, which is connected through your library card in your library, and you can rent audiobooks and regular books, and you just borrow them like ebooks or whatever. So I don't own the book, so let me just fix that. Let me turn it around. I think y'all can see it, but I don't own the book, so I can't really show. There you go. Much better. But Crowned at Midnight is the second book to the Throne of Glass series, which I read the first book in September, and I think it only took me 2 days to read it, and then I read the second book, borrowed it from the library right away, and I read that within a couple days too, and I really have been enjoying the series so far. I'm on the third book, and I think I'm on like chapter 10. Yeah, I think about chapter 10 or 11, and so far I really like it a lot. I know some people don't like the book series, but you know, like so far I've been enjoying it, so maybe like later on I'll be like, oh, I get what everyone's talking about, but for now I'm enjoying the series, so we'll see. So the next books I want to mention are mostly audiobooks. Actually, I had like a whole list over here because I can't remember them all. I do own probably I own 2 of these books that I listen to on audiobook. So yeah, but most of them are audiobooks, which I'm really surprised with myself. I used to not listen to audiobooks, but now I do, and it's nice because I can like clean my room, I can draw, I can do whatever, and just listen to my audiobook. So it's really nice, and I've been enjoying audiobooks a lot, and I'm really glad I started listening to more audiobooks this year because it's been a different, it kind of like, it's a different reading experience, and I think audiobooks does count as reading. A lot of people say it doesn't, but I think it does because like by saying it doesn't, it kind of takes away from people who literally can't see. So I don't know, I've been loving audiobooks lately. So the next book I want to address was I listened to the audiobook, and that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. So I got this book when it first came out, and that was, it's actually, I didn't realize it was a signed copy too. I had no idea this was a signed copy of this book. I'm actually really happy about that because I haven't opened this book. Okay, 2017. Okay, so this book came out in 2017, and I remember buying it, but I didn't read it because if you know anything about this book, it's about Aza, who suffers from anxiety, and I think she suffers from a few other things if I'm correct. But I started reading this book, and oh my gosh, like I could not read it. Like I cannot explain like I was trying to say, because couldn't really explain myself, but Aza has anxiety and she suffers from a few other things, I believe, and like reading the book was really hard for me because when I first got it, I started reading it, and then I couldn't really, it was hard to read. I can't explain it. For those who have read the book, you get it, and I've seen other people who made reviews saying that it was a hard read, and it was. Like I literally couldn't read it. It just kind of gave me anxiety, and I heard someone say like, if you do suffer from anxiety, just be careful with the book, and I'm just like, I totally forgot, because like I have a little anxiety, and then just reading that book, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I gave it another try by listening to the audiobook, which I highly recommend the audiobook. I really do. I think the person who read it did a great job, and like it was such a better experience for me, and I'm so glad I read the audiobook because I love this book so much. Like, I started it and I was like, okay, let me get through the first chapter and the second chapter, and I was like, okay, this book is actually getting really, really good. I like the characters. Everyone was awesome. I liked the story. There wasn't really a twist, but I just loved Aza, and I loved, like, I could kind of relate to her, but not a lot. But I loved Aza. I loved her best friend. I loved Davis. Like, I loved, yeah, her crush. But I don't want to get too much into it, but I did love the book so much, and it made me so happy, and I'm so glad that I finally read it. Oh, okay, also, I just want to shout out that Turtles All the Way Down was narrated by Kate Red, because I couldn't remember her name, so I just wanted to look just so I could credit her. Even though it was such a hard read back in 2017 and I couldn't do it, I'm so glad I gave it another chance, and I finished it, and it was just so good. So I recommend listening to the audiobook. Like, it's just, I feel like it is a better experience. Next book I want to talk about or just mention is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I'm not going to get too much into this book because I did do a review on it, which I might post next week. It's like all done, but I just haven't posted it. But this is such a good book, and I have the book, but I listened to the audiobook first, then I bought the book because I wanted my own copy, and I recommend the audiobook 100%. Like, listen to the audiobook. The audiobook's so good because there's two different actors who does each character. But I listened to What If It's Us, and it was amazing, and it made me cry, and I listened to it twice. So at the end of September I listened to it, finished it within like 2 days, and then in October I listened to it again. So it does count as one of my October reads because I did listen to it twice because I just loved it so much that I was like, I gotta get my own copy. I highly, highly recommend this book. I really, really do. And the audiobook. Like I said, most of the books on this list are all audiobooks because I was lazy and I didn't want to read. But I'm glad I listened to these audiobooks because it was a better experience, and I'm really glad that I did. But okay, so yeah. Next book I want to mention is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Audiobook. There you go. Now you can see it. Okay, so after I read What If It's Us, I went to check out Adam Silvera because I heard that some of his books are kind of sadder, and I listened to They Both Die at the End, and oh my gosh, this book broke my heart, but it was a good experience, and I'm glad there wasn't really a happy ending. It was more bittersweet, but I did enjoy it a lot. Such a good book, and the audiobook's amazing. I loved it. Like, I think, yeah, it was two different actors for two different actors for Rufus and Mateo, I believe. Let me see who it's read by. If it says it here, yeah, there's not two different, I'm sorry, there's three different narrators: Michael Crouch, Robbie Damon, and Bonnie Turpin, and she does one of the Deaf Cat's voice, I believe. But there's three narrators, and it's just such a good audiobook, and it's really sad, and I really do like Adam Silvera's work, and I knew it was going to be a sad book, but I was prepared. And it does kind of count as, I'm so sorry, it keeps on focusing on me, I'm so sorry, it keeps on going in and out. Okay, now I'm focused. Alright, like I was saying, what was I saying? Like, I was trying to say that I do like Adam Silvera's style of writing, and I guess it counts as a October spooky book because this is definitely a spooky book. Having a company call you and tell you, hey, you're gonna die in the next 24 hours, but you don't know how you're gonna die, is really scary. Like, that is really super duper scary. So yeah, I do think it counts as a October spooky book. Okay, the next book I want to mention is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. Let me just, okay, there we go. Wait, there we go. Yeah, there you go. The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black and narrated by Lauren Fortgang. I just want to credit her. But this book came out in, does it say? Yeah, this book came out in 2015, and I don't think I owned it, which is a surprise to me because I own most of Holly Black's books. And this is the book I just put in my back pocket. I was like, oh, I'll get to it eventually. And so I saw there's an audiobook, so I finally listened to it, and I finished it like the other night. And I liked it a lot. It was a very simple fairy stories, and she writes really, really good fairy stories. I still need to finish The Cruel Prince, but this was a really good book too, and I really did enjoy it. I really did. I think Ben was my favorite character. I liked Hazel, but I think I liked Ben and the Horned Prince more than Hazel and Jack. But it was a really good fairy story. I don't want to go too much into it. I just wanted to mention that I did read it. The next book I want to mention is Radio Silence. There you go, you can see it now. Radio Silence by Alice Oseman and narrated by Aisha Kala. I heard so much about this book, and I was really excited to start it, and the fact that it was an audiobook, I was like, okay, great. Out of all the audiobooks I had listened to, this is probably, The Darkest Part of the Forest is probably like the last one, like my least favorite, and then this comes after it, if I'm rating it. I thought it was a good book. I thought it was really slow in the beginning. I enjoyed it, but I just thought it was really slow, and I don't think I started to really, really like the book until the last half of the book. Maybe if I read it, it would have been a different experience, but since I listened to it, I don't know. Maybe I should have. I'll give it another go. I did finish it. I did like it a lot, but I don't think I did start really enjoying it until like the last half of the book. And I'm like, I feel really bad because I heard so much good things about this, and I just like didn't enjoy it as like so many others did. I really liked Frances. I really did. I liked the diversity in the book. Like, it was great diversity, great characters, but I just thought the story, I don't know, I got a little bored with it. I don't know why I did. Maybe because I jumped from whatever the last audiobook I was listening to, Radio Silence, and I was just expecting so much from it, and I really shouldn't have. But I did the last half of the book. I was like, oh, this is really good. But the first half, I was just kind of like bored. I was just kind of bored for a bit. But when when shit went down, the last half of the book, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this book is so good. So I did enjoy it. It's just like the first half, I was just like, just like iffy about it. Just like bored, I guess. The last book I read in October was Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I know I mentioned this in my September book haul, but I didn't get around to reading it until October. Just the other night when I paused my audiobook because I really wanted to finish reading this, and it was so good. It's a graphic novel, and it's also by Faith Erin Hicks, who does the illustrations, which are beautiful. It's such a good book. It was such a good fall read, and I loved the characters, and I thought it was really cute. I just thought it was a really cute short story / graphic novel, and like so much diversity in this book too. So yeah, I'm glad I finished this. Like, I'm still reading Wayward Son, and I know that was part of my September book haul, or maybe my October book haul. Okay, I think it was my October book haul. But I haven't finished Wayward Son because I just can't do it because I want to savor it and I don't want it to be over. So when I do finish it, I don't want to though, I'll probably make a vlog about it because I just don't want to finish it because it's so good. I don't want it to be over, and I want a third book. I'm not sure how it ends, but I want a third book. I want more Simon and Baz. So yeah, this is the last book I read in October. So I didn't read any of the spooky books I said I was going to read in October. Coraline, Phantom of the Opera, and Thinner. I did not read those books, and I'm so ashamed of myself. But I had so much going on in October that I just kind of fell out of reading, and I had so much stuff in my life that I just listened to audiobooks. But all the audiobooks I mentioned, I loved. Some more than others, but they're still really good. And I did read a lot this October, and I was surprised. Mostly audiobooks, but I'm so glad I did read a lot. And I did check off a lot of books off my list for my Goodreads, because my goal this year is 50 books. Before I was 75, but I dropped it down to 50 because I was like, oh, let me be a little realistic. I don't want to go too hard on myself. Next year, maybe I'll do 55 books or 60 books, but this year I did 50 books. And let me see where I am. Okay, so this is my Goodreads, and oh my gosh, there you go, focused again. This is my Goodreads, and I've read, oh my gosh, focus, 20 out of 50 books. So my goal was 50 books, and I read 20. So I get to read 30 more books? Yes. I don't know where I had to check. I was like 30? But yeah, I had to read 30 more books by January 1st, 2020 to fulfill my 50 books, which I feel like I can do. I have a lot of books. I know I have more than 30 books on my shelf that I have not read that I need to read. So, especially if I actually get through my spooky books, that's like 1, 2, 3. I'm also listening to Ember in the Ashes on an audiobook, even though I own the book, like right over here. It's like right here. That's 4. And there's like 3 other audiobooks on my list that I'm trying to get through. That's 8, so that's already like 28 books. Almost 30. Let me at least get to 30 at least. But there's a bunch of books on my shelf that I have not finished, and then I'm still going through the Throne of Glass series. So I feel like I can at least get to 40 books at least. I can do 50. I know I can do 50. I'm at 20 already, and I'm like, I can do 50. I'm gonna make sure that I do. Even if I had to do a whole vlog about it, vlog about it, I will get 50 books done. I know I can do it. I know it. But yes, thank you for sticking around, and even though I did not read my spooky books, I at least got through a lot of books, and I'm wearing my Stranger Things sweater, so pretty spooky, you know. But the only fall book I read was Pumpkinheads. But no spooky books, no Phantom of the Opera. I didn't even read Coraline, which I feel like I can read tonight or tomorrow. So maybe that does count as a spooky book. It is a spooky book. But all the spooky books I had in my October haul, I posted my October haul on Monday because I was supposed to post it on October 1st, and I had it done by October 1st. I just never posted it, and I'm just like, what is wrong with me? I just so out of the loop this October, and Halloween is my favorite holiday, and I didn't even read any spooky books. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great Halloween, and thank you for sticking around. Bye.